Hey y'all, this is Cindy. I'm the Tireless Tangler. I want to welcome you back to the 100 Days of Zentangle Project 2021. Thank you so much for being with me today and every day on our journey. Our tangle for today is going to be a tangulation of Muka. It is called NOVU. It is by Jessica Davies, also known as Jake. And we are going to work it as a fragment today if we can, all right? So before we get started, let's do some breathing. Oh, take some deep breaths. Get a sip of coffee or tea or water. Now take another deep breath. There we go. Drop those shoulders down. And let's get ready to tangle. All right. So before we get started on our tile today, I want you to get a piece of paper from your sketch pad or copy paper, just a piece of scratch paper. And we are going to practice this tangle, okay? Now, it's not that it's hard. It isn't hard. But what we're going to be doing today, fitting it into the Zentangle, is going to be exacting as far as precision goes. And so we're going to want to have some practice with this. All right. Let me find a clean page here. And I have been practicing, as you can see. All right. So NOVU is done with Muka. Now, I like to pull mine down towards me, but if you are more comfortable with Muka pushing out, that's fine. You do it whatever way you want. Now, the thing with this is it's created inside an oval shape, okay? And we've got almost a half oval here. And you want a nice rounded top on your Muka, but you don't have to. You know, you can draw this whatever way you like. Then from the side of the Muka head, you're going to come up and bring a second Muka. And I like to try to kiss the edges there. And then you're going to make a third Muka stroke. And turn it out the other way. I think that's what makes me so enamored with this. I think that's just such an elegant thing. Yeah? So I want you to practice drawing this. And we're going to want to practice doing it in as consistent a way as possible. So whatever way you're going to form your Muka head, you want it to be consistent. All right? And your Muka stem is going to end in a point, okay? So I want you to become very familiar with this stroke. Practice it. Practice getting it into the oval shape. Now, keep practicing. As a fragment, we have some play potential here. So what if when we drew this, what if we tucked all three going inside? We certainly could do that, right? I think I saw some variations on the step out art. And she's got some amazing step out art, so y'all should definitely go look at it. I think I saw some of this. And of course, this is traditional muka, like this. So anything you can think of to do with this fragment is going to be okay. All right. So let's talk about now the Zentangle tile. Okay. The first thing, the best thing for you to do to practice for what we're going to do today is to trace around a tile, okay? Make a circle in that tile, and you can use like a lid top or whatever you want to make that circle. But you're going to want that circle to be large so that you have large wedge pieces here, okay? And so when you draw this in, the challenge to this is going to be staying inside your shape. And conversely, using all of this area for your muka. One way to keep this consistent is to make sure that your wedges are the same size and to fit this in, touching all sides, okay? So we want to take our time and make sure that we are fitting everything in and not going outside the lines, okay? Now this third one in this instance is very difficult because it's trapped inside here and it doesn't have much room for the head, okay? So we can't handle it like that. And we're going to, as you can see here, sometimes I manage to get them both the same size, sometimes not, and sometimes they overlap, and all of those is okay. All right. And so in this one, in this configuration, I would come at this from the other direction. I don't know if I can do it like that. Turn that way. Kiss. Okay, and then you've got your and this one comes back. Now we don't quite have as much room on this side. I'm going to go ahead and let them overlap. But if we set this up correctly and manage to get it configured right, then we have a heart shape coming in here, okay? So now let me show you a couple of examples on tiles that I worked on. And yes, I practiced this a lot. Number one, I was completely enamored by it. I think it's going to be beautiful. This is an example in blue, which I'm going to draw with today, is blue. I think that looks so cool. And here I've got it configured the way I just did with these muka fragments turned opposite. Now on this one, I was working in brown and black, and I initially set this up to where they were all going the same direction. And I also love this configuration. Okay, so practice this NOVU until you feel really comfortable with it. And then let's get out your Zentangle tile or whatever you are drawing on today, and let's have some fun. You can see I have got quite a few pages playing with this, and I did it first in pencil, and you may want to do some sketching in pencil. And if you really want this to be perfect, which of course we don't believe in, you can do some sketching in pencil to sort of help you on your way. Okay. All right. When you are ready to move on, then you can hit play again, and we will continue. All right, so when you, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to draw these darker. Let's start off right today. Much better. All right, now we want to divide this 2 more times and do your very best on this one to get these proportioned as equally as possible, since that's going to make a difference in your ability to fit things in. Hopefully you can see that one. All right. Remember, look at these two and see if they look about equal to each other. It's not an exact thing, but all right. So I have divided this up into more or less 8 equal wedges. Okay. Now I am going to use a compass today. However, you can find something round here, a lid or something like that, and that will work as well. Now, my goal for today is for this inner track to have a large area to work in, okay? I'm going to put the point of my compass there, and then I'm going to maybe half the space, or a little bit more than half. And go over this again so y'all can see it. Okay. And then I'm going to put another one by the outer edge. Not that we can't go to the edge, but that we have a little bit of separation from it. If you don't have a compass, it is certainly something that will help you do things like this, for sure. It's a handy tool to have. All right. Put my handy tool away so I can find it again. Okay, so this is what we have that we're going to work with today. All right. Now, I still am trying to decide between the 2 configurations that I've got here. These are both lovely. I think I will try for this one and see where we end up, but I love the wildness of this one. I think this one is a little more free and a little bit more crazy. Don't ask me why I think that. It's just how I feel about it. All right. So what we want to do, and I'm going to go ahead and sketch my first one in pencil to show you. Okay. You start at the point, and you want to be careful not to touch, or rather to go along your line, but not go into the section next. And this should be the back end of your muka. You want to come around, and however you want to configure that. Now I'm going to make my muka with a nice round head. I think that gives it a really cool symmetrical look, but again, you may draw your muka as you wish. Okay, I'm going to keep my stalk really thin and my head nice and thick, and it's going to touch the top and it's going to touch the side, but it's not going to go into the next section. All right. So then I'm going to put in my second strand, once again, right along the line, but not going into the next section. And so I want this to kiss the stalk and kiss the head. Like this. And then this is the space we have for that third one. And I'm going to remember that as I draw this, I don't want to encroach in the other section, but if I happen to, it's not the end of the world. Okay, this is how we're going to set it up. And in the next one, we're going to do the mirrored image of this. So we're going to come back the other way. All right, so this is what we're going for. Okay. And with my pen, I want to go really slow so I don't do any of that. So this is what I'm wanting, okay? Now, again, you can turn yours however you like. I am going to draw mine in with my 03 in blue. You can pick whatever color pen you have, and if you don't have one, don't worry about it. Just use your black or your brown, and as you can see here, that's also really effective. And I may come in with some black accents, but for now I'm going to stick with blue, okay? And I'm using my 03 instead of my PN because I feel like I get a smoother draw with the 03 than I do with the PN, but that's just me, and you can, of course, use whatever tools that you have available to you. All right, so I'm going to draw in my first two guys, being very slow and careful about not encroaching into other sections. Now I will freehand the rest of mine, but I just wanted to point out that if your result is very important to you as far as symmetry goes, then this is one way that you can help yourself with that. This isn't for sure traditional Zentangle. But I also know that most mandala artists use some kind of a guideline, even the Zentangle ones. Okay. I will probably get a bit more pleasing result if I draw this freehand. The pups are snoozing up a storm today. Now, these don't have to be perfect, and you're going to have a cool result even if they're not perfect. All right? So this is where I'm going to go with this middle track, okay? So I'm going to do this one in the opposite direction now, going slowly and keeping in mind that I don't want to encroach into the other sections, okay? I have trouble making this in one stroke. At least one that I find pleasing. So please, if you've got a Muka stroke that is awesome, go for it. Okay. You can tell I've drawn it this way many times, can't you? It makes a difference. The practice matters. Muscle memory matters. I had one of you contact me frustrated because your drawings aren't turning out like mine. And so I want to know, what isn't turning out like mine? It's the tangle not turning out like mine. Does it not look like mine? Does it, I don't know. So tell me what the problem is, and I will try to help you. But if it's just that yours doesn't look like mine, let it go. Let it go. It's not supposed to look like mine. There may be something similar to it, but it's not supposed to look like mine. Simba. Simba bear. All right, let's do this the other way. So these don't have to be exactly the same, but they do need to occupy the same space as far as the same size space. And to do it in somewhat an equal fashion. I need to stop that. Okay. Put in 2 more. I'm going to do the one that I'm good at first. Okay. One more. Oh, that one turned out better. There. So out of all of these, I managed to get 2 sections. Okay. And the rest of them will just have to stand on their own. All right. So now what to do? Well, the first thing I'm going to do is put an aura around the outside of this. Okay. And see where that leaves us. And I'm going to take my time and try to do a careful job. I'm not going to worry about encroaching into the next section here. I'm just going to put in my aura. All right, okay. So now, let's decide what we're going to do in these upper sections, okay? Okay, so I think the first thing I'm going to do is put little orbs in these little V spots. And I'm going to try to make them fill that space as much as possible. And I think I'll leave the inking around for later since I'm not quite sure what look I'm going to do. As far as finishing up, of course, I think we all know that there will be line weight and rounding in there somewhere, but not yet. So I'm doing the spots first where these muka heads meet. And then let me look at these other spots and sort of reevaluate maybe what I might want to do. You know what? Let's, instead of an orb, let's put Suzanne McNeil's scallops in there. And that goes with an inked in middle. And then an aura across that. And then sort of a rounded thing like that. And then they, I think in scallops she has these curved slightly. Sort of like this. And then I think I'll put another aura on top. Here, like that. That'll make some interesting stuff. Give it some visual interest. A little ink is going to help. If I can slow down and do a nice job. So black in the middle, aura, wide aura, outer aura. Okay. Well, it is another beautiful day in Oklahoma. Chilly in the morning, warm in the afternoon. Kiddos at school, yay. I said that yesterday, and when I was editing last night, when he was home, he was like, hey. There, now we've got an area that is more finished off for this. And I think I also am going to put an aura around my little orb here. Once again, just for separation. There, very pretty. Okay, so now what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to start at these orbs between the muka heads, okay, right here. And I'm going to put my muka tip in right here where this line divides this orb, okay? And so I'm going to make my mukas go in this way, right? So that, let me zoom in so you can see that pencil line. So that I start here, I'm going to kiss this pencil line up here. And again, clearly don't have to be perfect. Clearly. All right, so we have my little muka. So on this, then I'm going to go ahead and put my second strand in, kissing everyone on the way around. And then on this last part, instead of putting, well, I guess I could put one there. I certainly have room in this. If I do that, though, well, clearly I did do that. I still am going to, what I want to do over here is put another on the outside. Like this. Okay, does that sort of make sense? All right, so let's skip a space and move on to the next one and do the same one going the same direction. All right. So I'm starting right here at the penciled line. Try this like this. Right here at this penciled line, okay? And I'm going to come over here. I do not want to get that correct, do I? And make a nice pleasing line, if at all possible, over there. And I'm going to go ahead and bring this down. Yes, this would be a much better plan if I could make this stroke without getting it weird. But I have practiced and practiced, and I have not been able to master it yet. That doesn't mean I won't, though. Just means that for the purposes of this video, we're going to take our time. All right, and if you can get the nose of this one right there, you're going to have something pretty when we get finished. All right, skipping one and going to the next one. Uh-oh. Well, no matter what I do, those don't turn out very nicely. But what? I'm going to let it go, guys. I want you to let yours go, too. If it's not perfect, it's okay. If it's not like mine, it's still okay. Just do the best you can. And then let it go. All right. See how I do with this method. Still a little awkward, isn't it? Simba. Yeah, maybe by the time I get done drawing this, I will be better at it. Maybe not. Just take your time. And if you're not getting it right off, make sure that you're spending enough time practicing in your book, in your sketch pad, or whatever you've got. Oh, I forgot to put my opposite one, didn't I? Okay. And this one. Cindy. It's all right. Okay, now in these squares, or in these sections that we skipped, what we're going to do is we're going to put this same thing going back the other direction. Okay, so starting at this penciled line where we started at the last one, we're going to bring this back the other direction. Okay, made that a little bit too round. Oh, this is terrible. But I'm going to let it go. Yeah, not good, but I'm going to let it go. If I am serious about what I tell you, that it doesn't have to be perfect, then I have to be able to let this go. Cindy, let it go. And I'm going to remind myself what I am always reminding you guys, which is don't prejudge your outcome. So I've got a wonky muka in here. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. And I've got this cute little heart here, so how bad can it be, right? Okay, maybe pretty bad, but it's going to be okay. Yeah, I think we might be off to a better start there. Ooh, look at that one. That was nice. It was a really nice one, wasn't it? See, all is not lost. Okay. Not my best job, but it is still going to work out. And let's see, two more. Not quite as perfect as the last one, but still pretty darn good. Sort of tucked that one in behind. And that's okay. And this one. All right, one more. So if you are struggling with this, my advice is practice, practice, practice it. Practice this NOVU. Practice getting them even. Trace yourself some wedges in your sketch pad or on a piece of copy paper or whatever you've got there, and use that. All right, so this is the end of the NOVU part. Now, what I want to do now is add some auras, okay? So I'm going to start with the outer edge and go from there and see what we end up with. And I'll probably put another orb here. Do I want to? But I think like here, I want to aura around first and then add the orbs, okay? Or maybe I won't be. Or maybe I will. Maybe we'll put them down in here this time. Taking your time, Cindy. We are not racing today. And even though this is a Zentangle day, so it'll probably be a little bit longer than usual, it's going to be okay. We don't need to worry. Somebody's got their Harley out today. All right, now, so I think I'm going to add some orbs. All right, so next, and maybe we'll put auras around those. We'll see. A second aura never hurts anything. So now what I want to do, now I did quite a few experiments on fills. What do I want to do with the interstices? And I feel like I have auraed the inside of each one of these spaces. And here I just put orbs in, which I feel like it loses my pattern. The thing that I liked the best was to draw these inner auras and then either ink them or do these hatch lines in them. I think both ways are fairly cool. So what should we do for this? Now, one thing I thought might be interesting would be to ink this in a bit of the way that we did this. If it's not even, then it's less effective, but I might be able to fix that. So the only thing I want to be really careful of is where my mucus string comes back down, and I've got it sort of obliterated here. Let's use this one as an example right here. I want to ink on so that this is not obscured. I want that little sliver of light going up, and I may have to dot in with a jelly roll here and there, but that's what I want. So I'm not going to cover this all the way to the edge. And I'm going to be really careful not to get where my white area should be. Okay. And if I manage to get one obscured, then I can always take my jelly roll and dot it in. And it can be a little confusing, but something like this, okay? So now I have to decide, do I want to do all of my interstices in blue, or do I want to change to, say, black, or I suppose I could use brown as well, just to do the auras and the interstices. So like this. I think I'm going to switch to my black 01. And if it's terrible, then I can put my 03 blue over it. Not that that wouldn't still show, but you guys know what I mean. Where is my black 01? Voila. All right. If I were going to do these in blue, I would want to switch to a smaller nib, a 01, probably. All right, so I'm just going to go in each little gap. I'm going to draw a careful aura. All right. Just with whatever space you have there. If it's not much, it's not much. And do I want to ink these or do I want to hatch them? I think I'm going to hatch them, and I think I'm going to do that. One of the challenges of that is figuring out which way to hatch them when you're moving from place to place. So what I'm going to do is hatch them with a line that is diagonal straight up from the center. So like this. And if I do that for each one, the angle will be slightly different, yes, but they will all still be pointed the same direction. Yeah, so like this. I think that's going to, the change in the color is going to give me some contrast here that's really going to bring out the muka pattern instead of just obscuring it with more lines, okay? Okay, I think this looks good. All right, let's go. Okay, I think this will work. Let's see. I find this kind of work, the filling in, R-ing and filling stuff in, to be very relaxing. I get an immediate gift from seeing the results take root, and I just think that's cool. Now, don't you think this is going to be very effective? Let's back out just a little bit here. And continue. Okay. Okay. So how are all my cat buddies doing? All of you guys with kitties, keep sending me pictures. I love those. Cats are such interesting creatures. Very much about themselves. Feed me, scratch me, love me. All right. Uh-oh. Let's not have the hiccups, Sim. Well, he's got the snores going on. Somebody said in comments, was it Polly, that they couldn't hear? the snorting and the snoring and all of the shenanigans that the puppies do and the boy does. So that's good. If I had hearing aids, I'd turn them down. Maybe I need to get some. Not yet. I can still hear the boy smarting off, so I think my hearing is fine. You know, as much of a fit as he throws about going to school, he has a good time when he's there. So he has had this thing lately where we will get him new clothes that are really cool that he has picked out, right? And then he will not want to wear them to school, and his excuse was that they were too cool for school. I mean, he looked too cool in them, so he didn't want to wear them. And I assume that means that he did not want any attention drawn to him whatsoever. Preteens. So this morning he was out of hoodies that were blank, made basically with nothing on them yesterday, and so he wore an anime one, and apparently he got some good feedback from that. So he decided that some things were going to be okay for him to wear to school. I just want to shake him. I don't have money to buy him blank stuff every time he wants to go to school. He's going to have to get over himself. Crazy kid. All right, so we've got the inner track down. Very cool, huh? Very cool. And you find little meta patterns everywhere here. I like it. Okay, let's move on. I am going to go ahead and draw my auras in around the outer edge, and then I'm going to decide whether or not I want to ink them. I really like the hatched line look. It's going to give me more opportunities for shading and things like that. So I may just hatch everything. I'm just not quite sure yet. So I've got these little interstices here, these tiny ones, and I'm trying to decide what to do here. If I ink them black, then I don't know. I could put little orbs in black. And I think on these that I'm going to have everywhere, I'm going to radiate my hatched lines. So like this. Yeah, so they sort of fan out. So that's pretty cool. All right, moving on. I guess I can go ahead and hatch these. So even though my hatch lines are going to be radiating out from the center, each one of these little spots is so short that you're not really going to be able to tell that. All right. All right. Okay. Yeah. I like it. What do you guys think? It's very textured. I think it's going to be very cool when we're done. All right, moving along. Simba. Simba bear. Easy on this snoring, buddy. He's really enjoying that nap. Almost didn't leave me one there. Okay. Simba. Simba. Good boy. Oh, you don't need to join in a little bit. I'm going to start playing snore music. Need to make a Simba's Greatest Hits. And they keep on coming. Almost there. Which is good because my belly tells me it's time for lunch. I'm trying to decide, I want to put another aura around the outside of this, and I'm trying to decide whether or not to use black or blue, and I think I'm going to use blue for that, because I've been using black as my accent color, and there's nothing wrong with that, but still the overall thing here is blue. So I'm going to get my 03 out again, and just put an aura around the outer edges. And I think I will stylize this aura just a little bit by using some dots in it here and there. So well, I want to give a shout out today to Valerie, or would that be Valerie? You are in France. Thanks for sending me a message on Instagram. I really appreciate it. Your English is awesome. Thank you. Also want to send a shout out to everyone in Taiwan. You guys are my second largest group. And then the UK is third. So I need to learn to speak your language too, don't I? It might take a little longer. Just trying to make sure I use the same thing in each place, because with me sometimes I don't. All right. So, what do we do about shading with this? Let's figure it out. Or at least get an idea of where we're going. So I definitely want to shade in all of my black spots where I've used black ink. We're just going to darken these or gray them down a little bit. All right, now on Muka, I think I've shown you this, you guys, this before. On Muka, what you want to do is you want to, let's see if I can do this right. You want sort of a thick area here, and then thin it out down there. Now, let me find a tortillon real quick and make sure I'm not just obliterating everything here. That might have been a little too much graphite right there. So I think I'm going to have to lift some of that out. That is the general idea that I want, but that was too much. I'm just going to sort of round that. Look at this. So I'm very tempted to switch from my pencil and use one of my Verithins. Let's see what I've got in a blue tone. Okay, so what I ended up with here is a Faber-Castell Col-Erase pencil in a light blue. Let's see how this works. So I'm going to want to handle it the same way. So just ever so slight amount. All right, and I'm going to do the same thing on each of my Mukas. Now, some of these you won't be able to get the detail that you do on others, and that's all right. Apparently on this, I'm not going to get much detail at all. And these Col-Erase pencils are very similar to the Prismacolor Verithins, and I had another question about those, and so let me clarify. Verithins and these Col-Erase pencils are much harder. The pencil core is much harder than say your soft core Prismacolors or your regular polychromos. Those are artist grade because they are so richly pigmented and thick and buttery to go down and all of that stuff. Verathins and these col erase pencils are meant for sketching, right? They're not meant for big works of art. They're meant for sketching. And so they are easy to blend, erase, and all of those other things. So they don't have as heavy a pigment. Now, the reason that I choose to use pencils like this in Zentangle art is several. For one thing, the harder pencils are much more see-through. They're much less opaque, much more transparent. And so that can be a great thing when you're dealing with ink art. And for example, this instance where I want to bring a hint of color in, but I don't want to overwhelm it. It's not about the color. It's about the pattern, right? And so if I'm going to accentuate and shade with color, these are the perfect thing. I get the feeling of shading, but I don't have the gray with the pencil, and I still see my ink work underneath very well. Yeah. So I think for Zentangle, these are a good thing to have in your toolkit. Now you don't have to have a big set of them. I think maybe my set of Verathins are the 72 set, maybe, because, you know, it's an art supply and it's me. But you could definitely get by, you know, with a 24 set, something like that, if that's what you want. If you want to try them out and see, you could get you a 12 set. And these are, there is a link to the Verathins on my Amazon store. Like I said, I'm going to work really hard as soon as I have the time. The problem with the Amazon Associates program in other countries is that the applications are in different languages. And that's fine, except that how am I supposed to, you know, learn Turkish or whatever it is? You know, how is that supposed to happen? And it's not just one language. I mean, you have to have an associate's agreement for each and every separate country. So France, Germany, Spain, Italy, Eastern Europe, wherever y'all get yours from, probably Amazon UK. But still, I have to have one in each and every country, an associate's agreement with each and every country that Amazon serves. So yeah, it's not going to be so easy. I mean, once I fill out a few of them, then maybe I know where the fields are supposed to be, but still, I mean, there's no telling what I'm putting down there, right? No telling. I mean, my ability with languages is going to get me a little ways, but not all the way. All right. Okay. Now, I probably will still bring in my graphite pencil to give more depth. For example, here, I used my pencil to shade and then put the color on over. This is going to work as well here. Okay. Sharpen this up. I just got a few more spots. And I'm going to try blending this blue and see where we're at. And at that point, then I will be adding gray or graphite to these spots. So I've got all that. Okay, so I need to get my orbs now. Okay. Again, I'm just putting a little crescent of color here, just a little half circle crescent moon shape. And then I'll blend that out with my tortillon, and I think that will work just fine. Even though this is colored pencil, and that's the other thing about Varathins and these col erase pencils that are nice, is that they're pretty erasable and blendable. Artists frequently sketch with these pencils because they blend color-wise in where graphite would probably stand out. Let me make sure I've got all the orbs. All right, now before I blend, there are just a couple of places with pencil lines that I want to remove. Just like from the tops of my orbs. I think that's the main thing. I think the rest of them are pretty much hidden. But those ones that go right across the top of the orbs, those can be a little bit more problematic. Because when I take my tortillon in there to blend, I'm not just going to get the blue pencil. I'll get the gray line too. Yep, I think I got them all. All right, let's do some blending and see where I ended up. See how well that blends? So that would be the next reason that I like these Varathin and col erase pencils, because they're blendable. And I mean with the tortillon, of course, all pencils are blendable in some way, but these I can just take a normal tortillon and give them a light rub. And it blends out all those harsh lines really nicely. And any of these little tops that I get too pigmented, then I can bring that handy Mono Zero eraser in. Thank you, Nancy. I don't know what I'd do with that, you guys. You know, I'm humbled by the week that I've had with the gifts from you guys. Humbled. Just thank you. Just thank you so much. More than the supplies, more than the fact that y'all spent money. It's that you thought enough about me to care enough to do something like that. So thank you guys very much. So by putting just a little bit of color on these and then blending it out, we have done some shading, contouring types of things, but with color, so that we're going to blend right in here with everything else. And this part will take just a bit of time. You have to be willing to be patient. Great results take time. So don't get frustrated, guys. Take your time. Just see what happens. You know, if it's not what you want, I totally get that. But take your time. Go ahead and finish. See what happens. You know, and if you're still struggling to draw the tangles, then please practice them first in your sketch pad or on scratch paper or whatever, so that your hand is used to the stroke of the pen, the way that each tangle is asking you to make that pen stroke. And so practice is always good. And you should see the amount of sketch pads that I have filled as I have started my Zentangle practice years ago. Probably 7 years ago now. Feels like longer. But yeah, each time you do a tangle, each time you learn one, each time you practice it, each time you look at the tangle in a different way, this is going to change your art. And, you know, never worry about doing tangles twice. Oh, I've already done that. Well, okay, you've already done it, but what new stuff can you do with it? I mean, can you take that tangle and really explore it in a new way? And that's the challenge, not how many tangles you can learn. Although that's, for some of you guys, that's pretty impressive. It's what can you do with the tangles you know? Yeah. How often do you take one of those old ones out for a ride and see where it takes you? Have you ever taken your tangles that you know and looked at them specifically in the light of what could I do with that and do it differently this time? And so I really want to challenge you guys to look at the tangles that you already know in a new light and see if that can teach you something, because I assure you it can. I learn stuff every day, and I learn a lot of stuff from the tangles themselves. They teach me. All right. What am I doing here? And again, I may bring my mono zero in here and clean some of this up. You want the shading on the muka to be very, very subtle. You want it to be a hint of contouring and not to be blasted by it. Yeah. Just ever so lightly. Okay. Yeah. now, let's see where we're at. All right, now I'm going to go back through with my pencil and look for spots with overlapping or that need just a little bit of dark. Anywhere your lines converge, of course, is a good place for shading. Okay. So this is basically where I'm going to leave you. I am just darkening up the bases of the stalks, hitting any place where there is overlapping to the edge of these scallops. And I'm sort of playing with the idea of sort of shading this like so, and I haven't decided whether that's too much graphite on there or not. But if it is, I can come through with my eraser and take care of that. So, like that. Okay, and then now, it's not my intent to obscure the color on these orbs, but I just want to darken this just a little bit along the base, where we might have a little bit of shadow from the edge. And then that little V. All right. All right, one final blend out, and this is where we're going to stop. I probably will do, you know, a little line fixing, you know, some more, just a tiny bit more color in here, just, you know, some finishing touches kinds of things. So all that's left now are the finishing touches, and I have to say, I really like the result that we got. I really like the Muka balls. I'm really tempted to do another one with them all facing the same direction, because I think that is also a very cool effect. But this is what we ended up with by using NOVU as a fragment today. What did you guys think of this? How did yours turn out? Was this really difficult to draw for you guys, or did you guys just throw it out there because you're awesome with Muka? I'm not sure. Muka causes me issues sometimes, so you know, I have problems getting the heads the same, and you know, all that. But don't sweat it. This isn't perfect, but it's still pretty, and you know, we'll explore these kinds of things more as we go. But fragments are so much fun, and I just couldn't help but put this one in on a Zentangle tile and see where we ended up. Okay, guys, this is where I'm going to leave you today. I can't wait to see what you guys came up with on Instagram. Be sure you tag me with your art, and I am going to see you guys tomorrow for more tangling fun. All right, guys, I'll see you then.